I remember I first met Xavier in 2015 in Switzerland in symposium. There was a symposium in Geneva, and Marcel was seeing my short documentary movie, and then Xavier also, and then Xavier approached me and told me that he thinks it is a good idea. He thinks it is a good idea about my proposal about the theme we are not monsters.
Yeah, and I had seen the interview that you did together with Sasha, which is this documentary you speak about, and what this interview was trying to share is questions about abnormalities and what is it to be normal and what is it to be not normal. And I was struck in one of your answer in this dialogue, where you have said this idea about people with disability could make a show which would be about monsters, and you had this already sort of a title for this show that you started to imagine or think about, which is still "We Are Not Monsters." And I thought, for me, it's a very interesting idea to work on this question of monsters, which is also something I am interested in works that I have done to try to change our perceptions and to try to look, for example, what separates in our understanding what is an animal and what is a human, because there is this zone where we are human but we are also close to some definitions that are animals. And I like this to work on these borders, because also if you put the two together, like a human plus an animal is, for example, what can make a monster.
Yes, for example, werewolf.
Werewolf, exactly. So I thought it was interesting to use these fictional ideas of monsters and try to look at it like you propose in our life, where sometimes a person is looked at as being a monster, which is a construction.
Yes, it is really interesting to me when we work together and we tried to find some examples where is one individual represented as a monster, but it is not exactly like that.
You have also said that you are interested in monsters, in games, in books, in movies, and you can tell us a little bit about what is your relationship or curiosity into these monsters characters.
Very interesting question. I don't know why am I curious about these characters, but I have been bullied when I was going to school, and then I tried to escape into this monstrous reality by playing some horror and violent video games. I'm not violent, and now monsters are interesting to me because they are different from the others.
Yeah, and this is something you also experience and you want to share. That's also something I understand from our week of work, to share how one can be seen by the other as different, and that the difference that one has is not necessarily the one that one wants to have as a difference. We have talked a lot about this in this week, this notion of, yes, we are all different, but the problem or the question we have is when this difference is then making the other a monster.
When this no, I think the question is, will this difference be acceptable to society?
Yeah.
Yes.
And when it is
because I'm sorry for interrupting you, but for example, in our society, if they see, for example, there are people that are disgusted by persons with Down syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because I remember yesterday when we were having workshop with other members from Parrot, Jelena with Down syndrome, she was telling us that her mother asked when they were walking through the streets. Her mother asked some water for her, and then this woman that needed to give water to Jelena, she just turned her back away from Jelena,
because she was not recognizing her as a person. Or what do you think?
I think that she's how do I say, she's how do I say, small-minded, but not like she's stupid, just like she doesn't have wide views about the disabled people.
Yeah, and that's also something I remember that you say this week, which was very important for me, when you shared that actually this kind of reaction that you also know and encounter is most of the time produced by the fact that the person doesn't know. The person doesn't know you, and person doesn't know what is the identity actually of a person that is first seen with a Down syndrome. They don't know, and that's this not knowing make this person being maybe afraid because she doesn't know. And I remember you say something very important for me. You say, yeah, we just should tell the people, they should just know, and then if the people, the other would know, then you could also then communicate, and for example this person would not have to turn the back and not give the water, which is maybe just produced by the fact that she has an anxiety made by the construction of what the society produce as the image of this person, which is not knowing actually. You remember we did this, we spoke about this.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, this was an important moment. This question we were talking about when you don't know, and the unknown can be for each one of us is produce different kind of relationship. Some people like the unknown, and they like to go there because there is an excitement or curiosity. So some people have this. That's their attitude in the world, and some other people are different, and they, in front of this unknown and not knowing, they are more like anxious. It produces fear. And we have different relationships.
Or they are trying to be ignorant.
Yeah, to protect. They also, this can be
they are trying to forget about this unknown.
Yeah.
That they think.
And this is this problem, because if I am becoming ignorant of you to protect me because I don't know you, then if you want to know me, then what you receive is me protecting myself, and that's the problem we have, and that's what we try to think about, which is a very wide and complex problem that is unfortunately getting more hard when we, like you say, when you talk about someone with a Down syndrome, or when we talk about people that are recognized as people with learning disability. But this is, for me, very similar as other difficulty that one has when one work with art, and that's where I connect also with what Sasha now talked about, working with group, trying to make art is, for me, trying to go into something we don't know, or something we want to understand or transform the knowledge we have from. And this is why it's interesting to work with art, I think, within this question that we talk about. So if you imagine, if we do something in this room, what I am interested in is that this separation doesn't pre-exist, because if you are, as a person in the room, doing something, there is not a prescribed place where you should stand or where you should sit. So instead of having this separation, it's more the question of how far or how close you are without having to break the wall in a certain way.
Yes, you can be more creative in a certain way.
Yes, in this question of proximity, and then we are back to our question of how do I get to know you? And I think the knowledge needs at the same time the distance to be able to observe, but also the proximity where then I can encounter you in a different way, which is not only by how I see you as a general person, but how I see you and I hear you in the details. And this is to come back with this question of getting to know, and the problem that one can have in front of the unknown, and this relationship with making art. That is all a question of the time that you give to do this. And I think for me, this all week, for example, already is an experience that we have had the luck to have this all week to exchange what you think, what I think, what Alex think, what Scarlett think,
to change our experiences, to change our examples of the monsters and stuff like that.
And then we get to know not only we get to know each other, and then we can start to work on our individual relationship with how we feel with not knowing the other, how we feel when we encounter someone who doesn't know us and therefore has a bit of a distance, or on the contrary, people who don't know us and who are then curious, but they are maybe curious not in the way we want them to be curious. and we have talked about all this, and this is great to have this
yes,
time.
And I remember what is interesting to me, we have talked about it, should we adapt the performance for the children?
Yes.
And for example, if someone from the audience have heart problems, I was thinking that it is not a good idea to make performance too scary.
Yes. So we have all discussed this, what we can make with this idea of being scared, or do we want to make the public scared, and what maybe we can do with this idea of being scared oneself or wanting to scare the other.
I just want to say that it is a great work. It is really great experience with working with you, Xavier, and with Scarlett and Alex, because I need some kind of support in this project. I mean, I need big support on this project because I still feel green.
Yeah, it's the same for us. We need a lot of time to exchange and make because always make.
But you guys have more experience in the theaters.
In museum, we have more experience.
Yes.
In theater, also. I don't know, because you did quite a lot of things in museum, in theaters. Yes. Sorry. I hear that you perform very often, so you have a lot of experiences. Okay.
So maybe I have a lot of experience in theaters,
yeah,
but not in the museums.
And you have also a lot of knowledge in all this world with you share with us these games and this how narrative goes about monsters. This is a lot of things that I mean I learned a lot.